Hello everyone, how are you? I hope everybody's doing well. Today we will be taking a look at the 2017 ThinkPad X270. Every time I review a ThinkPad line of product, I feel a little odd because sometimes I don't feel like I have anything new to say. Generally the build quality is just absolutely superb, and it's normally a product refresh from the previous model rather than something that is drastically different. So with that said, we'll take a look at this X270, which has replaced the X250 and X260. Now, a couple months ago, I also did a review video for X240, which I will link right here. Okay, so X270 is new for this year, and as you would have imagined from a ThinkPad line of product, it is a very solid, just a solid laptop. Mainly designed basically with the users in mind, from like business users and enterprise users or small business users. Basically, the way I look at it is it's all tuxedo. These laptops aren't built for video gaming or anything of that nature. Basically, this is just 100% productivity all day kind of laptop. So even looking at the exterior appearance, it's just all black. Although this X270 is just more like a super dark gray than black, so that's a little different with this model. So anyhow, just all tuxedo look and just all business. The CPU inside is a 15 watt 7th generation Intel Core CPU, and you can get it with i5, you can get it with i7. As far as the RAM, I believe the base model comes with the 4 gig, but definitely get minimum 8 gig. So it's a RAM of 2133 megahertz, and you can spec it to 8 gig, 16 gig. And if you pop the back cover open, there is a one single DIMM slot where the memory would pop into. And as far as the screen is concerned, so unlike the T series, which will come in at 14.1 or 15.4, this X series comes in at 12.5 inch screen, which I think, depending on the type of audience, it may hit the sweet spot. To me, 13.3 hits the sweet spot, but 12.5 is okay. Now, do take a look at this screen though. The bezel is quite present. So maybe if they can if they can figure out a way to enlarge the screen by eliminating the bezel, reducing it a little bit, maybe that would be it. However, I believe the X1 series comes with the 13.3, so maybe that is the differentiator between the models. So with that said, in this picture, you are now looking at the computer sitting right next to my iPad Pro. So I just did that for size reference. It is 12 inches long, 8.2 inches this way, and 0.8 inches height. It's weighing in less than 3 pounds. It has that prototypical ThinkPad rubberized plastic that you're familiar with. I don't know. I don't know if that's just it's my mind playing tricks on me, but I think it used to be grippier than now. It's smooth, and if you're not careful, it could slip out of your hands. As far as the wireless on board is Intel Wireless 8265, so it's a Wi-Fi A and C standard compliant. And then let's see, what else do we have in here? Okay, so obviously, when you talk about a ThinkPad, you're looking at a industry's best keyboard. I can't even go into it any further. This is bar none the best keyboard in the business. Nothing more to say. The actual trackpad is a great size. Along with, they do still give you the pointing stick, nav point, and then the Synaptics driver right now now runs Microsoft Precision trackpad with the 2-finger gestures and everything else. All still works nicely. When you press the trackpad down, the whole entire pad moves, with the bottom side having a lot more travel. So the pivot point is along the top edge. Okay, so the battery. Now that is the key differentiator in the X270 compared to other ThinkPad that other ThinkPad models do not have. They do have a naming scheme for this, but basically what it is there is an onboard 3-cell battery underneath the bottom cover right here, enabling users to swap the main battery out without having to power down the computer. So as far as the battery compartment is concerned, you can go with a 3-cell battery, and then there's a middle of the road like a 43 watt battery, I think, and then there's the 72 watt battery that I have on right now. So with the 72 watt version, you could actually last almost day and a half. With the LCD screen at reasonable brightness, Wi-Fi firing and doing all your productivity work while consuming media and what have you. So that's with a battery here and battery here. So that's plenty of battery life if you need to be away from the office. So that great use for a mobile warrior. And being an Ultrabook, there is not a whole lot of heat being generated. However, Lenovo did engineer with a ton of vents on the bottom. All right, so let's talk about what I would consider as pros of this machine. So has a typical ThinkPad, just a solid, reliable construction. There's very minimal flex in the lid, and the base, the palm pad area, just very solid. There's no give there. And as I mentioned earlier, just a solid keyboard, which is also backlit, by the way. And even though it being an Ultrabook, it still did not skimp out on the ports at all. So what you have is a USB Type-C, you have an HDMI port, you have a USB 3.0 port, secure card, and onboard Ethernet jack, SD card slot, another USB port, and audio. So there's a lot of ports is still available here. And now you do not buy this laptop for its outstanding display quality. Right now I have the screen turned off, so it's a moot point anyways. But the display, while it's not the brightest or sharpest, it is surprisingly pleasant to look at. And when you're just crunching numbers in Excel and what have you, screen is it's just pleasant to work with. And size and weight is just right, I would say, for this class of machine. I do wish that it was a slightly thinner, but then if you end up doing that, then may sacrifice the onboard Ethernet jack, because that's basically what's dictating the height right now. Okay, what else? And then superb input devices we already talked about. So those are what I consider as plus in this machine, especially the ability to swap out batteries without having to power the machine down. So as far as what I don't like about this machine, if you get it spec'd as a base model, your panel option will be 1366 by 768. It's a little bit hard to look at. So I would say definitely spec it with a 1920 by 1080 full HD. That's a good way to go. The one with the i7 and 16 gigabyte configuration just flies. The i5 with 8 gigabyte completely serviceable, absolutely no issue. However, those of you benchmark obsessed folks, you will see higher benchmark numbers with the i7 and 16 gigabyte, obviously. Okay, so that's about it. Is there anything else that I need to talk about? All right, that's it for ThinkPad X270. Until next time, everybody take care.